So this is my first Neckbeard story, also noble, so bear with me. Like all good Reddit posts, I will start with our cast. Kevin the Neckbeard of our story in all of his brony glory. Me, the milady of the story. Chris, my then boyfriend. So, to start things off, this happened a few years ago. When I was in high school, I was your typical drama club nerd. A tad cringe myself, honestly, with maybe a key target for a beard bait. I was your typical Hot Topic shopping goth wannabe in high school. At the time of the story, I had started dating Chris. He was a stereotypical gamer weeb. We all know the type, but unlike Kevin, he was a clean, odor-free, and shaved. But what I had not noticed before we started dating was that Chris and Kevin were friends. Now, Kevin was a neckbeard cutout. He had the dirty neckbeard, the greasy hair, acne-riddled face, and a smell that warned you he was close before you heard his heavy panting. Kevin also wore the same hoodie every day, no matter how hot it was. A real classy navy blue number with his Xbox gamer tag spray-painted on the back. Now, Kevin was a senior when I was a sophomore, but somehow we ended up in the same math class. And because I fell upon some higher beings crap list, I was seated right next to Kevin. His smell alone made me nauseous, and he was a space hog. He took up his own desk and part of mine. I'll start with the mildest of counters first. We had a substitute, and because of that we were not doing anything in class, really. Kevin saw this as the perfect time to enact his plan. Kevin turns to me, staring for a moment, and he says, "You know, Chris isn't good enough for you. He doesn't see that you're a true lady." Me, looking utterly confused. "What are you talking about? Chris is a good guy." Kevin, giving that always dramatic nice guy snort, says, "He doesn't treat you like a real good guy would, you know. He can't treat you as good as I can. You're dating a guy like him, why don't you give a real good guy a chance?" Me, "Are you talking about yourself? I'm going to stop you right now, okay? Knock it off." Kevin, "You'll see one day when he treats you like a real slut and not a queen like I could." At that, Kevin had lumbered himself out of his chair and go off to the hallway, fuming apparently. This resulted in a huge fight between him and Chris, and when Chris finally realized he was going on, he cut all ties with Kevin. This next part is from a few months later after Chris and I had broken up. Amicably, I might add. I'm just not into gaming, and it was too much of his life for us to work out. Kevin sitting down and looking triumphant. "I heard you and Chris broke up, so I drew you something. It's my pony OC, Shadow Flame, and I drew you one too. Her name is Black Flutter. See?" And with that, he handed me an intensely detailed drawing of two My Little Pony OCs. One was apparently supposed to be like me, drawn horribly, and with a skull on its back leg. I did not know what to say, and I just gave it back with a sort of shocked look. But it did not end there. "Kevin, I drew more of you. This is how I treat you if you gave me a chance, my lady." He acted like he was being the smoothest man on earth as he handed me what I could only be described as two ponies engaged in some pretty intimate activity. I was horrified, and I stood up immediately, going to our math teacher and telling him what Kevin had just done. Our seats were moved to opposite sides of the room, and Kevin was sent to the counselor's office. For the rest of the year, he would just stare at me, breathing heavy from the other side of the room. I once knew a neckbeard. I'd known this guy since 4th grade. Well, I did not know him. I knew of him. It was not like we talked or hung out, but I saw him around. We lived close. I knew his cousins, sort of. They walked into my house once. I remember that I did not think we had that kind of relationship. Well, most people knock, am I right? Years later, back when I still had Facebook, he messaged me out of the blue. He said that he still hung out with the old crew, whatever that means. I honestly could not remember most of the people he talked about. He said that we should get together, chat, so I agreed. I mean, why not? Why not indeed? This guy shows up driving this shiny loud car. I don't know anything about cars, so it was lost on me. He's wearing leather and too much aftershave. I get in anyway. He takes me to A&W because I attract the highest caliber males. He consumes his 4 burgers with gusto while I cannot eat one watching the show. Afterward, he drives me to his place. Tries to start stuff, but I'm just not biting. He's all whispering shit, and I cannot take him seriously. He jacks off in the toilet. Refuses to even have the decency to try and make it seem like he is not doing that jack slap cheer. He could have at least shut the damn door. On the way home, he tells me he is immortal. Pretty sure he said stuff about once the full moon rises, you will truly see my beast, or something to that effect. Told me that he had been watching me for my entire life, that we are destined to be together, that he'll always be there to protect me. At this point, I'm looking in the back seat for the katana and duct tape, about 8% sure the guy owns at least one fedora. Well, he dropped me off with some sort of "until next time" line. There was no next time, and I'm pretty sure there never will be, unless the guy is watching me right now. Nah, I'm sure I'm safe. And this, boys and girls, is why I do not have any form of social media that has my name on it. So I met this guy called A at a local youth group. He was a year older than me, and we went to the same school. Right from the start, he gave me a weird vibe. Like he had no boundaries whatsoever and would just say whatever came to his mind, appropriate or not. He started writing to me a lot. Like, he would send 5 texts in rapid succession. The whole ew creepy asterisk shebang. I was not interested, but I did not want to be rude by ignoring him, so I answered short, answering no questions, etc., hoping he would get the point and go away. Boy, he did not. I don't know how many times he asked if we could go grab a coffee, and every time I made excuses until I ran out of excuses. I know now that I should have just said no, but at the time I did not want to be rude. I had explicitly told him I just wanted to be friends, though. So we sat at this cafe, and he is visibly shaking with nervousness and sweating too. I am not exaggerating, though I wish I was. Mind you, this was not a date, and I had not let him buy me anything. So then he asked me out of the blue if I had ever come during sex. Internally, I'm like, what the fuck? Did he just ask me that? Externally, I do not answer. I feel extremely uncomfortable and do not know what to say. It gets worse. I think he got even more nervous by me not answering, so he started talking about how he cheated on his ex with a girl he met at another youth group, and that was the first time he came. And that he did not regret it, and that he thought you should just go for it if it feels right. That's exactly how he put it. I still remember the exact phrasing. Why would he tell me this confounds me to this day, and the way he talked about cheating disgusts me. Although this meeting was a nightmare for me, it seems like he thought it went well. His texting intensified further. All the roar, ooh, you can imagine, as well as he would try to find me and talk to me in school. He would do this weird penguin shuffle towards me and always seemed very nervous and awkward when trying to talk to me. It got to the point where my friends would help me hide when he came along. He constantly tried asking me out, holding my hand, etc. His hands were very sweaty, and he used way too much cologne. I told him at least 4 times that I did not want to be more than friends, but he just did not get the picture. At last, I stopped replying to his texts altogether, and he graduated, so he could not see me in school anymore. Every once in a while, though, to this day, 5 fucking years later, he sends me a Facebook message. I never reply. I don't understand what goes through someone's head when you have about 5 unanswered messages with a few months between each, and you decide to send a 6th? To a girl you have not talked to in 5 years? Maybe I should block him. Okay, this happened in 8th grade, but the harassment started in 6th grade. I had met this dude, I'll call him JENBS. Dead name I had at the time. It's funny that we both had double part names. In 6th grade, when we were around 10 to 11, I believe. I only really knew him because I was not popular and was aggressive in my youth, and so most of my friends were girls or very unlucky guys who I would try to have fist fights with. I do not know why, but for some reason he always tried to make every joke an edgy, sexual one. I did not understand or care about most of the time, so I just did not respond, or I would fake laugh. So about halfway through the grade, I moved away. Same state, but away, and add him on Facebook because I thought, why not? Big mistake. He would constantly DM me about how sexy I am, or I made his southern region get hot. Bitch, we are 11. Stop. It got to such a point over the span of 3 years in which I moved back, to which I had to get my mom to tell him off over the DMs because he made me super uncomfortable. Bear in mind, I was dealing with my creepy-as-fuck grandfather who I lived with for a year that had molested me minorly, so I pretty much panicked any time someone flirted with me. J.E. says, okay, I'll chill, but ends up sending me more filthy, gross messages to me until finally, at age 14, I agreed to date him. I'm super shy and conservative about dating due to my upbringing, and the women in my family have a hard time with abusive partners. I finally start schooling with him again, and he is a tall, minor, mustache-having asshole. Anytime we had free time, he would talk with me, but it was always so edgy. If I was in a Skype call with him and sometimes his friends, who are also dicks, he would make dead grandma jokes, dead baby jokes, or rape jokes. I was not impressed, but I was too shy outside school to ask him not to mention them to me. Speaking of his friends, they were all women should suck my dick and I'm too pro for lady types. Like him, they all wore dark clothing and made terrible jokes. Once I jumped up on a bleacher his friend had vacated since I have weak knees and cannot stand long. His friend turned around and shoved me off roughly while saying, "Move, bitch." I immediately told him I would not be hanging around his friends anymore. He also had mentioned that he was Wiccan, but not the peaceful type, and that he did dark rituals. We had cults in the area that would kill a duck at the park and leave its headless body there, and I think he was both in that cult and into drugs. Not long after I turned 15 or 16, he messaged me over Skype to tell me he had cheated on me with a 7th grader. I had grown more confident over the years, and so I immediately let him know not to talk to me over I would not be held responsible for my actions. He did, but a few months ago he messaged me again to say sorry and that he misses me. I let him know I am still semi-mad, but mostly because he never had the nerve to say anything to my face first. For a while after I wondered what I did wrong. Was it because that I did not put out? I realized later it was entirely on him, and he guilted me into a relationship I did not want or need.